The blessing of the Lord makes one rich, and he adds no sorrow with it. Proverbs chapter 10, verses 22. God does not have problem with you being rich. God does not have any issue about wealth. God does not have any issue about riches. But God has a problem if your wealth owns you and if your riches controls you. In this passage, we can see that one of the benefits or one of the effect of the blessing of the Lord is that it can make one rich. It can make one rich in material things, rich in cash, rich in many ways. It's important you know that the blessing of God is not riches, that the blessings of God, the blessing is not actually riches in itself. The blessing is not car, the blessing is not house. The blessing is what makes you rich, but the blessing is not riches. The blessing is way more than riches. It is an endowment from above. It is a portion of God that a man carries, that he expresses through the earth. When we talk about the blessing, we are talking about divine enabling. We're talking about divine ability. We're talking about the ability to be at the right place at the right time. The blessing of the Lord, it maketh rich, and it does not add sorrow. There are many sources of wealth that comes with sorrow. There are many ways to make money, but it will always come with pain. It will come with affliction. But the blessing of the Lord, when it makes you rich, it will not add sorrow to it. You need to allow God put his blessing upon you. The Bible says in the book of Job and chapter 1 up through to chapter 2, the Bible says, and Satan said to the Lord, is it not because you have blessed the work of his hands that his goods have increased greatly? You can again see the relationship between the blessing and increase in goods. My brother, my sister, wherever you are and whoever you are, you need to know that the blessing of the Lord can make you rich. The blessing of the Lord can make you rich. Do not forget, it is still God who gives us power to get wealth. Don't forget, it is still God who teaches our hands to profit. God is not against you being rich. God is just concerned when your riches take possession of you. Hebrews 13 verses 5 and 6 says, as I round up, it says, do not be captivated or be taken away by covetousness. He said, for God has promised that he will never leave you nor forsake you. And he said, because of that, you will say that the Lord is my helper. What shall I be afraid of? I will not fear man, because God is my helper. Listen to me. The blessing of God can make you rich. You do not have to do anything. I've heard people say you must do whatever it takes to be rich. I disagree strongly. You do not have to do anything. You have to just do something. You have to have work in your hands for God to bless. You have to be disciplined enough with the little you have. You have to be creative enough for God to bless you and God to empower you. God will not bless laziness, and God will not bless empty hands. I close and I remind you again that the blessing of the Lord maketh rich and added no sorrow.